Welcome to the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast.
What a humdinger of a show!
Jumpy, beep, beep!
Booty-O's! They make sure you ain't booty!
I got the gift of gab and the gift of jab, and I'll put that lazy eye right back to work.
I'm not a bad guy. I'm not a good guy. I'm the guy.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast. The wrestling podcast to review Raw and Smackdown and give all of you beautiful people the wrestling news of the week. My name, of course, as the host of this show, the originator, the one and only, the original construct of which this podcast was originally formed. It's Turbo Tony. That is, of course, myself here, making myself seem even better and bigger every single week. But words cannot describe my podcast godliness to you all. And also my ego might need just a teeny little bit of checking every now and then. But still, we'll get to that as we go along. Of course, I do not do this alone. A man does this with me. He is a man who has cleared his enemies from his path like the god of simulated and safe combat himself. It is Matt Marsander.
Don't know where you're going with that.
You had your airsoft tournament.
Okay, fair enough.
Hey!
To be fair, it sounded a bit more structured than your own. It's your own introduction. It seemed like it was about to fall to bits.
No, you know, I don't like saying that. You know that my words would fall to bits because I am infallible, being the podcast god that I am. So, how are you doing anyway, Matt?
Yeah, doing pretty good. It's just getting back from that weekend was a bit of a strain. So it's just sort of like, just take it easy. I'll watch Raw when not Raw. I'll watch Smackdown when I can. Yeah.
It's we watched, was it God knows how much. I mean, people could probably realize that last week we were pretty burnt out, just in general. And I literally went for about 9 days of not watching any wrestling, and actually it was pretty good. I have to say it was pretty nice, because when you watch, you know, even if you love something a lot, if you watch too much of it, you eventually just get burnt out, and that's just the bottom line of it there. So, but we're back. We were renewed, shall we say? Our batteries recharged. Of course, if you guys would like to interact with us, the main way of doing so is our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Let's Talk Wrestling Podcast. You can also tweet us to the Twitter handle. Now, this particular Twitter handle has its own cereal, and it happens to be a cereal that is coveted by many, but is in very short and rare supply. That's hence why lots of people want it. And it's the Twitter handle of
Talk Wrestle Pod.
Of course, you know, that being the juicy stuff that, you know, it's like Lucky Charms, Matt. That's what our Twitter handle's like. You know, whenever you send tweets to it, you get that.
I've just remembered I have Lucky Charms in the car.
Oh, well, there you go. Awesome, fantastic. You can eat them afterwards, Matt, as a reward to yourself for a good podcast. That's what you can do. And, of course, if you'd like to send us any private messages or audio questions, you can send that to letstalkwrestlingpodcast@gmail.com. And, of course, we've got plenty there on the show for you there. I'll run it down here. We've got the wrestling news of the week, as I said there before, the fan feedback. We've got my sanctuary of positivity. Oh. And we do have our super ultra difficult Matt super sexy amazing difficult but intense awesome challenge this week, which is just plain cruel. Just going to put it right up there, just cruel.
Okay. You sick of it? Sick of me getting through them quite happily?
Yeah, and some of our fans, you know, so I need to punish you minions before you just start to think that you're better than me. That's just the way it has to go. And, of course, we've got our Raw review and the Smackdown reviews to round out the show. So we should have had a very interesting show this week. Before we get there, Matt, we've got a little bit of procrastination to get into. The first of which being a little bit of sad news, Matt. A little bit of my childhood went away this week. That being Mr. Willy Wonka himself, Gene Wilder, passed away this week. There's whenever you think of timeless characters and actors that could perform comedy and stuff like that in such a unique yet memorable way, Gene Wilder is one of those timeless actors that transcends a lot of different genres and boundaries and stuff like this. Obviously, most memorable, as I said, there is Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I was one of those people, man. I don't know about you. I'm one of those people that when I watched the new one with Johnny Depp, I thought that was absolutely shocking. I haven't
seen it.
You haven't seen it?
No, so I've got refused to, but I don't know.
I wouldn't recommend it. I've seen it and thought it was absolutely horrendous. It's creepy, to be honest. Like Gene Wilder, when he played Willy Wonka, it was almost like this sense of awe and majesty, almost like he was a circus leader and he had this grand circus that he was showing off and he had all these wonderful things. Whereas like Johnny Depp came across very like a paedophile. That's literally no other way to go around it. He's just like, he's got this fixed grin and he's looking at the kids and I'm like, there's something wrong here. I feel uncomfortable, right? I don't care how much my child would like to go to the Chocolate Factory. If it's Johnny Depp's,
all of a sudden, not so much.
Yeah, I'm out. I'm going out. I don't care what's going on. But if it was Gene Wilder's Chocolate Factory, then I might give it a go. Even though the fact there was kids like drowning and put in incinerators and actually like turned like miniature through television magic. So a lot of other stuff, in there, but. Another role that people might maybe the newer age may not remember it more is Blazing Saddles, Matt.
Yeah, Blazing Saddles is a great film.
Yeah, the satire and the comedy in that for its time as well. Very, very cool. Very good.
I haven't seen Blazing Saddles in ages.
It's it's one of those things. It's a little bit unfortunate that it takes like almost like a death of a great actor to make you want to go back and watch those great movies again. But I tell you what, Matt, I've watched the Willy Wonka and Chocolate Factory twice since he passed away, and it's only because it's just obviously he's been put on TV a lot more since then, But it's one of those movies, Matt. Every single Christmas, doesn't matter what I'm doing, I'll make time to watch that movie. That's how timeless it is. And there's a lot of movies back then that you'd put in front of a kid of this generation and they wouldn't enjoy it. But that is one that they look at it and it's still got that essence of wonderment and whimsy and, which for a film that is 40 years old now, it's pretty fucking incredible right there. So really good stuff. Another thing to talk about there, Matt, is one thing you and me have been playing a little bit. We played it today, actually. The Battlefield 1 beta.
Yeah.
Great tasty. We've been having a great laugh. If you guys don't know about that, it's available. I think it's on Xbox One and PS4. We were playing it on PC.
Yeah, PlayStation doesn't require PlayStation Plus. Xbox, you still need gold. But yeah, it's all available.
I think like Xbox users that have had an Xbox for a good portion of time know that pretty much you need gold for anything anyway. So, but yeah, it's really good. We've been enjoying it. I think it's really confirmed, Matt, that this is probably going to be like my next big purchase in terms of games. Will be Battlefield. Yeah. Just lots of fun. Who knew that going back to basics in the World War I setting could be just so much fun? And you could not get me out of those planes, Matt. If someone was next to me dying and they needed my assistance, if I get in that plane, that's just far too much fun. I can't. That guy's gonna have to die. That's the way it is. I'm
trying to find out the end of this. Like when we were actually talking earlier. It's like I don't even know when the end date of this beta is, and the worst part is like. Look, just quickly Google Battlefield 1 beta end date. It's like, well, it comes out 21st of October. I don't want to know when it comes out. When does the beta finish? I don't know. It comes out 21st of October.
Fuck. Just enjoy it while it's here, Matt. Enjoy it while it's here. And smooth over the fact that I would happily perform murder just to play an aspect of that game. That's probably the best way to move forward. Yeah. It's dark here on this show this week. Dark stuff. But I do recommend the Battlefield 1 beta. And... it might be one of those things that I might end up recording like a little bit of footage of myself about playing it. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe putting it up as like a private video on our Facebook, just us having a laugh because we do have a lot of fun, something like that. But let us know if you're interested in something like that. Is there any other procrastination that you have, Matt?
No, I can't think of anything else.
No,
I can't think of any procrastination to be done.
You've, like I said, we've just been in a relaxing mode over the course of this week, and it's been fucking awesome. I will say that much. Just before we get beginning, Matt, as usual, got to pour out my Pepsi, my fuel for this podcast. Nice stuff there. What are you drinking anyway? Or are you just?
I am on the Tango.
The Tango, wow. That reminds me of the adverts of those where they had people have perforated eardrums from them. But that was the one, wasn't it? Or where they used to slap.
Bang, both sides.
And people getting seriously injured by it, but still. Anyway. All right then, Matt, let's get into the wrestling talk of this week then. More unfortunate news. There was another passing in the wrestling world this year. It's another one in 2016, just in general. It's just turning out to be a bit of a shit year when it comes to this. Mr. Fuji passed away. I think, Matt, he'll be remembered as one of the most memorable managers in an era packed full of very good managers at that time. To become like memorable amongst those bunch, it's pretty impressive. He's one of those people that, there's a few characters that if you were to ask people about wrestling, they might be able to recall. Let's say I asked my brother, who hasn't watched wrestling in a long time, name me wrestlers or people that you know involved in wrestling. I think Mr. Fuji would be on a tier just below the likes of Roddy Piper and Dusty Rhodes and Hulk Hogan and Jake the Snake and stuff like this, which is still a good company to be having. I will say that, like, it's the first memory that comes to mind whenever I think of Mr. Fuji is actually a bad one, which is a bit of a shame, but it's just, telling the truth here. It's nothing to do with him. It was just the match itself and the ending of the show was a bit bad. The first thing I remember of him, Matt, is the WrestleMania 9 main event, which I think they even showed footage of him throwing the dust into Bret's eye, Yokozuna rolling him up, pinning him, that wasn't a problem, as much as a Bret Hart fan as I am. But it was the reason why Yokozuna won the championship. It was to lose it to Hulk Hogan, literally in like a 9-second match afterwards, which was ridiculous and leaves us still a bit of taste in my mouth after all that time. But still, a great personality, has one of those clientele, Demolition, right? Run with those guys for a while. Yokozuna, when he was champion and in the main event status, he had a career, especially in terms of managing people, that stands up along a lot of other people's, which is like I said, in that era, it's not like now. It's easy to be a Paul Heyman nowadays to a certain degree because you don't have any other managers to go up against. No one manages teams anymore or talent. Back then, almost everyone had a manager, and it took a very memorable and unique personality to stand out amongst the rest. Do you kind of see where I'm going with that sort of thing?
Especially to sort of like stand out from it all rather than sort of like just generic man in suit. But I mean, you're talking about a period of time where like managers were people like the Mouth of the South, things like that. Heenan as well, people who made it almost as part of their mission, just to sort of stand out from, I am the manager, I am man in suit.
Yeah,
go fight.
Yeah, exactly.
They made it the mission to be a personality in their own right.
It was like you look at the managers back then, just in general. Like we will rattle off a few names there. You could even look at some others. Miss Elizabeth during that time.
True, yeah. I mean, we're talking like his second. Well, yes. I mean, second run, like a managerial career in WWF was like 85 to 96. So that's it's a huge amount of time.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, of course, I've seen some people point to this, and it's been along the lines of, "Oh yeah, he was good and he was great," and I have fond memories of him. But looking back on it, wasn't he such a stereotypical, almost racist depiction of himself? And I'm like, well, that was just wrestling in the general back then. You can't single out Mr. Fuji and go, "Oh well, they played up to him being of a certain race," and they played off that so much. At the end of the day, like that was the way things were. That was just the culture. I'm not saying it's right, but that was the cultural. Everyone had issues like that back then, and they weren't put up to the fore. And that I don't think that should be something that's associated with Mr. Fuji's career and his legacy to be left behind. So I think some people are missing the point with that. There's a time and place. It isn't now, but it's just well, that's the time twist. It is such a shame. I'll get there in the end.
There we go.
He's not. This year, Matt, is just horrendous. Like, we seem to be, I don't know whether or not, I don't know. It's just awful that we've done more stories like this year in terms of wrestlers passing away than we ever have since we did the podcast. And it's never good. It's never good for us to talk about this, but he had a good career, and very memorable. So good stuff all around there. Is there any other memories that you associate? I mean, I think most people would remember this time with Demolition and Yokozuna. And...
Yeah, to be fair, I think that kind of that's kind of it. Sort of like turning on with powers of to switch to the powers of pain.
Yeah.
No. It's like a lot, really.
He's one of those people that he works very, very well with lots of different teams and lots of different talent, because he was a personality himself that was larger than life, and because he was that, it was very easy for him to transition to other people and start working along those lines, and that's completely fine. Awesome stuff, just great around, and it's one of those things that when you've got a wrestler that passes away, if it's someone that really didn't have the chance to really make an impact on wrestling in general, that's a tragedy. At the very least, I know it's obviously very sad that Mr. Fuji has passed away. He left a stamp on wrestling. He left his own, mark on things, and he's got a memorable legacy. That's what all that anyone really wants to get in wrestling for ultimately, is to be remembered in such a way. So. In that sense, you could say it was a success. So, there you go. Did you hear about the ESPN radio host, Matt, that decided to take a shot at Kevin Owens' son?
I did. But also, did you hear about the same ESPN radio host who basically got, I'm so sorry. I was a bit of a dick.
Yeah. I think he might have forgotten that ESPN and WWE are actually, working with each other a fuck ton recently. And ESPN need WWE as much as WWE value that relationship with ESPN. I don't think this guy. Let me put it this way: for someone that knows the general landscape of of sports journalism, which is basically what ESPN is, ESPN aren't doing very well. A lot of their contracts are being bought out. A lot of their on-air personalities, their pundits, Matt. You've got the likes of Fox Sports coming in with big dollars, taking away ESPN's talent, and their on-air personalities. So ESPN aren't in the best of places at the moment. So they need WWE, and they need these relationships. I imagine that the guy himself is pretty happy with what happened, even though he got racked on the knuckles a little bit, because he got eyes on his show, and he seems like one of those guys that lives off of making statements like these just to get a little bit of publicity, Matt, because doesn't seem to be able to get it any other way, sort of thing. But it's just a bit silly. It's just like this whole dynamic of from some members of the journalist community will have to eventually accept that wrestling fans, guess what? We know it's fake. That ship has sailed a long time ago. You can't. That's not an appropriate response back to it anymore. Which is, guess we'll find out when he finds out it's fake. It's like large majority of fans. I would say 98% of fans know that it's fake. Yeah, that's how it is nowadays. So find a new hill to burn in terms of WWE, in terms of wrestling in general. Because the first response that you have back is, "Oh, well, wrestling is fake. Why do you like it?" I'm like, "Well, Game of Thrones is fake. Why do you like it?" "Oh, because it has great stories and it has, Wrestling has stories. They're just told in a physical medium.
Yeah.
You don't ever get any response back from people once you say that shit because they're like, okay. And you're like, yeah, that's literally all you have as ammunition. So, yeah. And as a wrestling fan, do you really think that's the first time I've ever heard from someone, oh, why do you like it? It's fake. Yeah, I've heard it all the time. I could give you 10 responses back that makes that statement so asinine and backwards and so 1990.
Yeah. Well, it's like, oh, wrestling's fake. Yeah, some of the highest sort of turnaround for TV is all sitcoms and all that crap.
And hell, if you want to tell me, well, I like reality television because it's real.
What's the fucking difference?
Yeah. Reality TV is less real than fucking Star Trek Voyager, which I watched about an hour ago. So there you go. You know, that's how much I think of reality television. So yeah, this is ESPN. That's just making a little bit of controversy for themselves. But the reason why they're doing this is ESPN in general got their backs to the wall a little bit here. One of the things I will say here is that one of their longtime pundits, Skip Bayless, on ESPN First Take, which is a show I've said before I watch from time to time. Fox Sports literally just threw a bucket of money at him and say, come to us, even though this was a show that on ESPN he created himself and he pioneered and he pushed forward and made it a staple of morning television in America. He went. He's getting a lot of people getting bought out, and that's just the way it is. So,
one thing, the worst part is, like, I'm sort of thinking of going through of sort of like, yeah, like, here we go, sort of like the top broadcast TV shows of the season, like, and it's just sort of like just going through, and it's like some of the shows are just terrible. They're terrible TV shows. Like I've never been a fan. Like, I've watched Modern Family. I don't like it. Like shows like The Voice and all that crap. The Bachelor, a lot of crap. And it's just all crap. But it's all like fake. Oh. Even just, like you say, like reality shows where you've got like American Idol and things like that. Like, I'm one of those people who thinks, say like, it's not free of like any scandal. Like, that's full of scandal.
I don't make their money through it. That's that's why I take it with a pinch of salt, because to be honest, I feel sorry for the guy in the sense of, because if that's honestly what he believes, and he's so behind everyone else, because wrestling fans you don't have people shouting, it's real to me, damn it. You know what I mean? They don't, that's funny because it's not true, right? It's not real to anyone anymore. And we've accepted it and moved on. And guess what? We take it for what it is. And it's just a stupid statement. And to go for a kid,
video, like, of It's Still Real to Me was like, it's not even like a recent. It's not even like a recent, like, what was it, like 2007 or something like that? It's a fairly old video.
Yeah.
That just keeps circling around, and everyone just sort of like, oh, some people still think that. Nowadays, no, they don't.
Yeah, that's just the way I look at it. I just think it was an asinine statement, and he got his knuckles wrapped for it. But I doubt we'll hear anything else from the guy, and maybe he didn't get as much publicity as he hoped he would, because I think wrestling fans just in general now just look at it and be like, well, that was just a dumb statement. Like, it was just stupid. So there we go.
I think it just all boils down to stop being a dick. It's a kid who's happy for his dad.
Yeah, ultimately.
It's all fake. It's just like, but let him be happy, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, that's just the bottom line. That's the way it is. So TNA, Matt, have been bigging up their Final Deletion sequel, Final Deletion 2, Delete or Decay. The reason I bring this up is because obviously they're pushing this forward as their big, huge thing, and trying to capitalize off of the success of the first Final Deletion. So they're pushing this hard. Here's their problem with this, though, and it's exactly what we said first along when we were talking about Final Deletion, is that the first video, shall we say, I think that's probably the best way to call it, it got the shock factor. It shocked people the only thing that TNA can hope for now is that they outdo themselves, because they're not going to shock anyone anymore, because it's been done. People now know what's coming. You know, you have to just go ultra crazy with it, and there's to a point that even if this is a success, Matt, again, which I doubt, it might be a success, but not to the level of the first one. It's going to gradually it's going to start losing its appeal.
Yeah.
And they won't get the mainstream traction that they did the first time when they first did video. I'm telling you that now. This is why it can't be a long-term basis for their show. It just doesn't hold. The reason why because it caught everyone unaware the first time. You know, that's the reason why everyone got behind it. It's very hard to do that twice when now people are expecting you to go bonkers. You know what I mean? Like, it's first time out, we didn't know what we were getting into. This time we know what we're getting into in terms of it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, especially considering it's sort of like it's going. Like at one point, it was like whole sort of going into the unknown, and now it's like, well, we kind of have an idea.
Mm-hmm.
It's just going to be a lot of Matt Hardy with a crazy accent, then Jeff Hardy being crazy.
Yeah, it's
like it's a bit curious, really. So I don't know how they like. It's going to be so different, and it's just like, how?
Yeah. I wish them the best, and like this whole thing, this whole final deletion has basically reinvigorated Matt Hardy's career. That whole character has basically breathed new life into him for the first time in pretty much his entire career. He is now more over than his brother, which is crazy. That's never been the case. So fair play to him on that front, but it's one of those things that I just want to warn TNA fans, and I'm guessing they don't listen to our show because we've bashed the company quite a bit, but just warn yourself, just don't think this is the be-all and end-all on the future and anything like this. And it should do good business, but don't get yourself hopes up thinking, well, if the first one was fantastic, this one will do double of it, you know? No, that's not how things work, you know? But we'll soon see. And
as long as there's a dilapidated boat.
Yeah. I'm sure there will be plenty of callbacks to the original. Maybe too many, dare I say, you know, but we'll soon see. But on that front.
Prepare the battlefield for massacre.
You still want Senior Benjamin, don't you?
I want more Senior Benjamin.
More Senior Benjamin. Apparently, from what I heard from rumours, anyway, I don't know if it's come to pass, but they want to have Senior Benjamin become like a normal mainstay on like TNA's regular programming. So I was like, that might be going a little bit too far there. I like the guy, but that might be going a little bit too far, but still. Is there any other news, Matt, that you caught this week that's worth talking about? I saw the rumours of Colt Cabana and Punk no longer being best pals, but I decided not to add that in because it's just rumours and conjecture. So,
yeah, I mean, that's the other thing. Is like I noticed there was a lot of rumours going how like WWE are trying to like force Paige and Del Rio to break up.
Yeah.
It's just like no fact.
Like we can talk about it or how we feel about it, but it's one of those things that like it might just be completely redundant because it might not be, you know, the truth, and it might be a gigantic waste of our time. So that's just the bottom line of it here. The one thing I would one of our questions actually this week is who do we think is going to be leaving the company soon? And I think Del Rio is pretty much dead set on that. So, but we'll get to that as we go along. Talking of fan feedback, let's get straight into it then. So, Thomas Oliver asks if we're looking to review Lucha Underground Season 3 here on the podcast, and if we have watched or been to any of the indie shows or any of the British companies like Progress or, you know, anything like ICW over in Scotland, that sort of stuff. Firstly, Lucha Underground Season 3, I'm not sure, and I'm leaning towards us probably not covering it at the very least in a week-by-week basis like last time. And that's just simply because of the fact that I still haven't got around to watching Ultimate Lucha Dos.
No, right. And I've had 2 weeks off, and I feel really bad for doing that because I'm like, I've had all this time, and I still haven't fucking watched it.
Yeah. I know some of my fans might be just get over yourself and watch it, but that's kind of the point. Like, I found myself with free time, and I'm not watching it, and I don't know why. It's just weird. We've talked about this before. And it was one of those things that we tested it out with season 2 ended up taking up the podcast, the general podcast on a weekly basis now taking up more of my time than when it was before I started reviewing season 2. So it's one of those things now that I'll have to reevaluate, and I'm not as confident I could get on a weekly schedule of definitely reviewing it every single week. So that's, I won't say anything for sure yet, but I'm leaning towards probably not. We might talk about it here on this show, but probably not the solo reviews as we go from there. Unless, Matt, you decide randomly, fuck it, I'll just find time to do it. But
maybe.
So as if you have more time than me anyway, so, let's talk about Matt, we've been to plenty of indie shows of our times, and when we call it the indiest of indie, with
oh god, yeah,
15 people,
yeah,
in attendance.
Even wrestled in front of 15 people.
Yeah. Very badly in my case, at the very least. So I'll add that. Just to explain to people actually our history, I only wrestled one match, and literally we arrived there thinking that we were going to be just watching it, and they just threw us in because we had been training. And because I was so green and so bad, literally, it was like a 10-man tag match, and I was eliminated with the first move of the match. That's how bad I was. Just putting everyone out there, just putting it out there. Matt, you did a lot better, but myself not so much. Indie shows, Matt. What about you've been to Progress before, haven't you?
I've been to a Progress show, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I'd seen Devitt.
Yeah.
That was Devitt. But apart from that, no, I'm planning on going to one of the upcoming Progress shows. Like 36 or something, like David does. We're going to need a bigger room. It's not Ciampa's last one, it's the next one after that.
Oh, so you're going to miss him on that, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, still, one of those things.
It'll still be good.
Yeah, they've got a reputation now of delivering decent shows. That's why their name is out there. There is what I've heard of, a decent indie promotion that sprung up here in Cork called Celtic Championship Wrestling, and literally a lot of their events are literally just down the road from me, and I feel very ashamed at saying that I've just not gotten around to attending one of their shows yet. But they've had some talent come over. Was it CJ Park? I think his name. I can't remember his name. In NXT, it was the fucking hippy dippy dude.
Oh, fuck.
People know what I'm talking about. Man, I've forgotten his name already. He was quite irrelevant, but he came over and did a match here as well. So
CJ Parker.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah, I had to quickly Google it. I was like, NXT hippie.
Yeah, come straight up. Yeah. So yeah, it's one of those things that I was planning actually taking my daughter to one of those shows over here because there wasn't really much wrestling going around before then. When I first moved over to Cork, they actually had a show here that had Bret Hart as one of the, not obviously one of the wrestlers, but one of the people that was making appearances there. So, which I didn't go to again because I don't know why. Because I'm a recluse and I have kids to look after. And at the end of the day, I'm just like, oh fuck it, I'll just sit in front of my TV and relax because my kids are crazy. So. Yeah, bottom line over there. Alex from World Wrestling Boom asks, so far, what brand has been the most successful in the following categories? Match quality, rivalries, competition level, and promos and angles. Well, we'll have to deliberate as we only watch one show each. Match quality is the first one here. The match quality on Raw's been okay. It's been all right. Some weeks have been poor. But since the brand split, I mean, the main event this week was pretty decent, and they've had some other good matches. What about SmackDown? How do you say the overall match quality?
I don't know. It's been average. There's been a few solid matches, but I think I can't think of many key ones that have come to mind. Especially with regard to just actually on a SmackDown show, they've all just been solid matches.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things then with Raw that maybe they have a lot of like matches that end randomly or end like very quickly. But every now and then you will get a pretty decent match. It seems like SmackDown's more level across the board. So it really just depends on whether or not you want a steady like 6 out of 10 or if you want random fluctuations between 3 out of 10 and 8 out of 10. You know, that's basically what Raw is at times. So, yeah, I don't. That's probably our answer now. I can't say which one's is better. The rivalries, I would say, on Raw have been utter cock. I will say that some of them have just been thrown together with little to no reason. Basically, you know, sometimes they've made no sense. So I'm giving that one to SmackDown straight away without even contesting it in terms of rivalries.
Because I think it sort of goes back to when we were talking about like all the promos recently between Ziggler and Ambrose. As well as I think with like Styles and Cena and things like that, I think I could probably agree that I've had the stronger rivalries.
Here's the thing as well. I used to think that, so the next one is competition level. I used to think that competition level on Raw was far better than SmackDown. But as I'm starting to look at it now, I'm like, the tag team titles, okay, we've been ragging on the fact that there's not really many championship contenders on SmackDown. But on Raw, you've got New Day and the Club are not doing very good at all at the moment. And then I'm looking at the rest of them, I'm like, fuck. You know what I mean? Like, really, there's no one else there for us either, really. So, and then maybe the women's division, better off on our side. Now we've got Bayley, I think, does that. I'm going to still go with Raw, Matt, because when I look at other people that could challenge for your world and your IC championships, there just isn't as much of a wealth of options as Raw has. So I'm going to go. I will press Raw on that front.
I could probably agree with you there because I'm finding at the moment there's not a lot in the way of, like, especially recently. There's currently no standing on who's going for the IC belt. The only reason we have a number one contender for the WWE belt is purely because Styles beat Cena.
Yeah. And when you look around like championship contenders, you've got Styles, Cena. They put Ziggler in that position, and then you're looking at other people, and you're like, oh, I'm starting to run out of people already. Like it's starting to, you know, the deck is a bit thin. So yeah, I'll go with Raw for competition level. Promos and angles, I've got to go with SmackDown. Some of the promos leading up to just the video packages of some of the promos leading up to the SummerSlam matches looks far better than what Raw had. So yeah, we get promos, but when we get promos, we get the likes of Titus O'Neil fluffing his lines constantly. Did you catch that last week, by the way? Did you actually go and look at his promo?
I didn't know.
Oh, it is fucking... I watched it again just to make sure that I wasn't too harsh on it, that maybe I could come back this week and go, oh, you know what? It wasn't as bad as what I thought it was. No, it's worse. It's far, far worse. Generous to him last week. So, yeah, I'm going to go SmackDown on that front. So, kind of leans a bit more towards SmackDown. I guess maybe, like, I think, was it No DQ did a poll of, like, asking people which show was better on a weekly basis. SmackDown's winning apart from, like, 2 shows or something like that. So, maybe that's the bottom line of it there, even though I think that's more along the lines of the fact that Raw has that extra hour, and that extra hour is always going to be hard to fill. So, would you agree with that then, on those lines?
Did I have the better show to watch?
Well, at the very least on promos and angles at SmackDown seems to be better of it. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Billy McGee asks, who would make the best mid-card champs from their respective rosters? There are a few contenders on Raw. I still think that Rusev is a fine champion. I don't see a problem with him being champion. You've got Sami Zayn, who could do well pulling off a title run as well. Before he got injured and put in such an elevated position, I thought that Finn Balor could have done well having that title for a little while. And there's some other guys, Matt, that you could put in that role as well. When you look at SmackDown, going into what we were talking a little bit earlier on, who you got the Miz as champion? Who else could you have but the Miz? It's a harder question to ask than you would think it would be, though. Like, who would you think?
the thing is, we spent. Do you know one thing? I haven't even mentioned it. So, do you know I've mentioned recently? There's been a lot of Baron Corbin beating the shit out of Kalisto, like backstage.
Yeah,
they've dropped that. Baron Corbin was in the main event of SmackDown.
Okay,
but it's like at one point I think that was probably it. They had that that triple threat for the number one contenders match for the IC Championship, which was Cruz, Corbin, and Kalisto, and that's pretty much it. I don't know.
It seems like a bit of a weak lineup, though, doesn't it?
I think it's probably one of those struggles because, like, where it is, this probably is where it's like because it's 2 hours. I'm forgetting about people.
Which
like,
isn't your fault, by the way.
Yeah, I won't see American Alpha for so many weeks, but that's fine. I know American Alpha's there because they're part of the tag team tournament. And you can't have tag team matches all night long. But I think it kind of goes down in that. It's actually quite similar with. I think we probably could have brought this up in the news or something. But did you know that Summer Rae got drafted to Raw?
Yeah, and she hasn't made a appearance since then.
Yeah, but I think that's probably that's the case on quite a few of the shows.
Yeah, like, you know, Alicia Fox got drafted to Raw, I think, and she hasn't made, like, she may have made an appearance, but not much of an appearance at all. Like, some of them are just very underused. But it was that way even before the draft, really. But it's a shame that they focus so much on Charlotte and then the Charlotte Sasha dynamic that a lot of girls got completely forgotten. Yeah, in that. Yeah, but I mean, when it comes to mid-card contenders, like, you might ask us, like, let's take those three people. Let's take Kalisto, Apollo Crews, and Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, but did nothing for like the 3 months after that, probably even longer. So it stalled his momentum. So he's kind of a blah sort of commodity. Yeah. Kalisto, after that fucking horrendous promo on that Draft Center Live, my opinion of him has plummeted. It really has. I've never seen anyone have to run away from a promo before. I've never seen it. Never seen it at all. So people are looking at him as if he's a joke. And I like Kalisto's in-ring work, but he can't talk for shit. I don't know why WWE keep putting him in that position. And then you've got Apollo Crews, Matt, who we said constantly needs more time at NXT. His psychology is not ready, and it fucking proves, because like his entire momentum is dead.
Yeah, I mean, it seems recently that Cruz's thing is, my name is Apollo Crews, and we'll spell his name. You know, after we had like the Miz go on about like I don't know if this was since it became SmackDown, but whatever, where he was referring to him as Apollo Creed. It's not Creed, it's Cruz. And now as a result, he's been spelling it to people. He spelled it to AJ this week. And it's just like, ugh.
Yeah, it's, you know, they're making a mockery of him, and that's because his entire momentum is still. And this is WWE misusing him, because I thought a bit more time in NXT, the fans would have turned on him in NXT. And what I mean by that is they would have turned on him in NXT, and then you could have run some sort of storyline that could have played off that a little bit. Yeah, you know? No. Whereas now he's on SmackDown, and man, he's splashing in the water, Matt. He's doing everything he can to go forward, but he's not getting anywhere. His momentum is completely stalled. And it died when he lost that title match to The Miz at SummerSlam. I'm not saying that was the wrong choice, but I'm saying that's the after effect of him losing that match. That now he's looked at, like, I thought this guy, I looked at him when he was coming to NXT, and I thought, he's got the look, he's got the build, he's got the athleticism, he just needs a bit more time to get it in his head.
All that hype coming into him, it's like, oh, fucking Uhaa Nation's coming to NXT, and I'm like,
oh, yeah.
Oh, and it's...
You know, and it looks good with the suit on, Matt. He could go out and do press conferences. He can go out and do interviews. You know, conduct himself like a professional. To me, I looked at him and I'm like, where could you go wrong? You could go wrong by promoting them too early, which is exactly what they did. And that's the issue where it is. So, yeah, really, you look at The Miz and I'm like, as much as you hate him, Matt, really, what else are you going to do? Like, he's probably, maybe you have Ziggler getting a rivalry with him, but I don't think that really goes too far. But I don't know. It's kind of, that's the most pressing issue, I think, with SmackDown in general. But
yeah.
Racist Fan Rocks asks us to create a Survivor Series team of WWE versus Lucha Underground. We've actually done this already, but I'll give you a quick one. If I were to do it now, it would be Rollins, Lesnar, Balor, Styles, and Cena versus Pentagon, Mysterio, Muertes, Matanza, and Puma.
I can't argue with that.
You know, I didn't want to just say, "Oh, we've done it before," so I wouldn't answer. There you go. That's my answer for now. I just won't go into it as in depth as I did beforehand. Cam Brock is an Arsenal fan that agreed with me last week, but you've got to win now, at least. And a couple of signings, I hope they turn out well. And the reason I say that, Matt, is because I want a close 4-team title race with, of course, City poking ahead at the end and winning the title, of course. But, that's what made us winning the league the first time so impressive, Matt, is that we won it on goal difference. You know, we won it. We won it when it looked like everything was out, and we scored a goal and just elation. And I blacked out, and I threw my laptop into the room, and all that stuff. So he asks us what were our favourite and least favourite pay-per-views. Favourite pay-per-views? I've got a few. We talk about it all the time. I'll just say it again. SummerSlam 2002 is one of my all-time favourites. Money in the Bank 2011. We said that before. WrestleMania 24. I am a big fan of that show. I think it's very underrated. That's the same show that you've got Ric Flair against Shawn Michaels, and you've got Edge and Taker at the end of that match, which is a unsung WrestleMania main event that was fantastic. Really does not get the plaudits that really it deserves. Any other pay-per-views that stick out to you? I mean, I didn't want to go with the obvious, WrestleMania 17 and WrestleMania 30 and stuff like this, but
WrestleMania 13.
That 13 was a shit Mania, though. It was good for one match.
Yeah, but that's probably why it's memorable.
It's like WrestleMania 25 had that amazing match with Shawn Michaels and Taker. Rest of the card was pretty shit.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll probably go with Take Over Dallas.
Yeah, well, that was a lot of fun.
Take Over Dallas was pretty good.
Yeah. Or the first Brooklyn. I think that was something very special.
First Brooklyn was very good.
Obviously being biased because we were there, NXT TakeOver London. But we were there. I can understand people watching it, maybe not looking at it the same way we did. We just had lots of fun that night. Our least favourite pay-per-views, December to Dismember.
Capital Punishment.
Any of the bragging rights events, really. While it wasn't the worst show, Mania this year left a very bitter taste in my mouth. I've not come out of a WrestleMania feeling that frustrated and annoyed for a long time. But I mean, like WrestleMania 27 was overall pretty shit. It wasn't very good at all. There's just a list there was some of the brand specific pay-per-views were also pretty bad back in the 2003, 2002, 3 draft, whatever. When they started doing the brand specific ones, they weren't very good, but which isn't a good precursor for Backlash coming up, Matt, but I'm sure that'll be okay.
Yeah,
but still. Adamos Marcos can't wait for Emma to return to the main roster. In his opinion, she's up there with the very best women on the roster.
She's not drafted.
She is undrafted, so yeah, she can go to whatever brand she's needed at. I obviously selfishly, like with Bayley, I think that she should go to Raw, but that's just me being selfish. The heel turn, though, it reinvigorated her career, gave new life. Mm-hmm. Her career, which looked done. There was a good while, Matt, that I was saying it's just a matter of time before she gets canned. For a while, she was canned, and WWE realised that it was a bit of a harsh response, and then basically hired her back. But I still remember seeing the news article, Matt, of Emma's been fired, and then 2 hours later, she's been, rehired. So
we're sorry.
Sorry. You know what? She seems like outside of wrestling, because I guess that Adamos is quite a big fan of hers. She seems like a nice woman. Like, she has a cooking channel on YouTube. I don't know if you knew this, Matt.
I didn't. All I know is she has a very nice bum.
Oh, there you go, Matt. So you can enjoy that. She's just one of those people that I think a personality I could get on with, because she, especially with that gimmick that she had, just a bit lighthearted, just taking things for fun. Check out her cooking channel if you haven't seen her before, and you can see her doing something outside of the ring and stuff like that. And making delicious food.
Oh, yeah, considering it must be Taste of Tenille, because There's one, like the screen cap is her and Paige.
Yeah. She didn't do that many videos. I think she only did a couple, but still there. Still, if you're an Emma fan, may as well check them out. I know that the reason I found it is because Xavier Woods on his gaming channel plugged it. So
yeah, I'm actually on the channel now, and there's one of looks like Woods is puking into a plate. But there we go.
Oh, there you are. Anthony Smash asks, who do we think is most likely to leave WWE in the next few months? Del Rio, absolutely, without even questioning. If the rumors are true and the stuff with him and Paige, I mean, clearly it's become a story, unfortunately, that his relationship with Paige is cropped up a few too many times, and maybe he doesn't like that. I imagine he probably doesn't. And the way he's been used since he returned has been less than stellar. But I've always said that I don't blame WWE this time.
I've always said I don't think he should have left Lucha.
No. Like, he should have known going back to WWE that the same issues would come back. The place doesn't change. Not in the time that he left anyway. It was only a couple of years. So, it's just the bottom line of it there. Paige is locked into a long-term contract, so she can't leave until something like the back end of 2018. That's a long time. Bo Dallas, we hear rumors, even though they're not a decent source of rumors, but rumors nonetheless, that apparently he got in trouble in a flight. But that's all rumors, we don't know yet. But even without that, he's still a candidate because he's not being used. So he might get cut. Curtis Axel, he might get cut too.
Yeah.
Just because they're just unused. They're not even used for jobbers. They're bringing back Jinder Mahal so he can job in place of these guys. You know what I mean? That means that you've got problems there. And Matt, you said Summer Rae hasn't made a television appearance since the draft. Maybe she's on the block as well. Maybe she's, I don't know, because I don't know how much they would do with Total Divas and stuff like this, and whether or not that's still really something that WWE hold their hat on, because they really don't air anything with Total Divas anymore on their weekly shows, which is good. But Matt, it seemed for a while that not even a week could go by without we heard something from Total Divas. I can't remember the last time we heard something from Total Divas now. It seems like it's not a priority for WWE, which is good for us, because then we don't have to hear about Natalya wrestling someone because she didn't like the painting she was given. We get a little bit better story. Well, actually. So yeah, is there anyone else, Matt, that you think might unfortunately be going? I mean, WWE are on a hiring binge at the moment, so maybe that might not even happen at all. They might want to keep everyone on, but don't know. Well, who do you think? Anyone apart from that group?
No, it's a tough one. I think you hear a lot of rumors of things going badly, and whether that's gonna. The trouble is leading up in the next couple of months. We don't know the time that they've got left of their contracts.
Yeah,
I don't think we'll see anyone just walking out of their contract in the same way that Punk did.
No. I mean, Punk had legitimate leverage that you could throw over WWE in that sense. So, with the staph infection as well, he felt like he definitely had an out on that front as well. So yeah, it's that's my list of people. So really, you got Del Rio, Bo Dallas, Curtis Axel, and Summer Rae. They're my thoughts anyway. I think anyone from NXT, if they're going to be let go, it's because they're not making any progress. And I think you might be looking, unfortunately, like the likes of you see Billie Kay, she wrestled at Ember Moon and Peyton Royce. It's one of those things that those girls, I've said it before, they don't seem to be showing any signs of improvement. And considering they can go out and sign some of these indie talents, like an Ember Moon, that's instantly better than they are, which makes me think that maybe they're in trouble as well. But we'll soon see. We'll see how that goes. So that's all the questions this week. So if you guys do want to leave us any questions, all that social media hullabaloo is in the graphics behind you and obviously in the description below. And obviously you can leave them in the comment section, which a lot of you guys do. That's the main way of leaving questions here for the show. Apart from that then, Matt, I'm going to pour myself out a Pepsi and prepare for the second half of this show. Now we've got, normally here I do the sanctuary of negativity, but I have to admit, Matt, over having the week off of watching much wrestling, I found myself being more positive than negative, right? Maybe there's a correlation there. I don't know. Maybe wrestling's the one thing that keeps me angry. Source of some of our rants here on the show. You know how it goes.
Oh, yeah.
So I decided to do a sanctuary of positivity. Finding a silver lining, shall we say. So my sanctuary of positivity, Matt, is finding new shows to watch while being sick. Now, let me explain. So I don't know if you do. I don't know if this happens to you. I don't know if it's just something for me that happens for me. But I was sick this week, Matt. I had a bit of an illness over the last couple of days where I was feeling very worn out, very tired, right? Headaches. You know, sometimes you just get these symptoms. You just feel like you need to sleep through it, right? And I had a lot of that. So I was in bed for a lot. And I have this wonderfully strange thing that happens that whenever I get sick and I have to spend a lot of time asleep or in bed, I normally go off my pad and I'll go onto YouTube or I'll find something on like Netflix or some shit like that. And I'll always find either a YouTube channel that I love, a new series that I'll get into and I'll really enjoy, or movies that I've never watched before and suddenly become big fans of. I don't know why. Maybe it's me being sick opens my mind to it a little bit more and I'm more focused on it. I don't know. But every time I'm sick, Matt, I find something new. It's strange. I don't know how it happens. It just happens. Does this happen to you at all? Is this something? I know it's very specific.
No, all of mine just tend to get stuck on me with just sort of like recommendations, and most of the time I don't listen to them.
Okay. Because goddamn the analytics that might choose. No machine can tell you what you recommends. Yeah. So I got a vomiting virus 2 years back. I found a YouTube channel called Double Toasted, which is a great movie review channel. Been watching them ever since. Love the channel. Awesome. I've even shared some of the links up on the Facebook page. I found Game Theory on another time that I was sick, which is an awesome... Matt,
Game Theory is great.
This week, Matt, I've watched a couple of animated movies that I never actually got round to watching. My kids had watched it. I just never got round to watching it. How to Train Your Dragon. Watched the first and the second movies this week. Matt, those movies are the fucking ace, mate. They are.
I've heard good things. I haven't seen them.
You haven't? Well, that's my recommendation. They are awesome. Okay. Now it's come to a point now that I'm checking out all the series. I'm trying to find out when the next movie's out. It's good shit right there. It's good stuff. So there you go. I've got a part of me that when I get sick now, I get a little bit excited because I know I'm going to find something new. I'm going to find something that I'm going to enjoy. It's bound to happen. It happens every time. You know? So think about that. Next time that you get sick, open your mind and just go and try and find something that's good on like a channel or something. Maybe, Matt, there are people here listening to this right now who are sick and are listening to this show for the first time. How about that?
Could be.
Could be.
A turn of events.
If anyone was sick the first time they listened to this show and subscribed and carried on with us, let us know, because then you're a lot like me. And that means you're awesome in my book. That's how I go with it. So a little bit of positivity, a bit of random positivity there for you. Matt, it's time for punishment.
Here we go.
I have been promising this for a little while. Now, I have to admit a little bit here. Maybe this is me just being scared because I know that last time I tried to make this hard, you actually did very well. You got like 3 out of 5 right. It made me look like a fool. And I expect that... half of me expects that this will happen again, even though I've tried to make this as stupidly hard as I can. So I'm not going to big this up as being the ultra mega awesome whatever. I'm just going to say it's meant to be
a tough one,
stupidly hard. I've tried to make it so it would be silly, right? That you would know what these things. So it is your super sexy, amazingly difficult but intense, awesome challenge. I apologize in advance. Let's just say if you manage to get this completely right, it would take something deviously evil of me. As in, I'll have to point out how many people in a crowd had brown hair. You know what I mean? You know, like it's going to start getting stupid, right? This has already gotten a little bit stupid, but I tried to make it that if you had some guy out there who literally his life was chronicling wrestling knowledge, that he might get a couple of these correct. So,
right.
Are you ready then?
Okay.
5 questions. And Here we go.
Oh, excuse me.
Question 1. Where did SmackDown emanate from the night that Mick Foley first won the WWE Championship?
Oh?
So what area did it emanate from?
On SmackDown?
Oh, no, so it was Raw, sorry.
I was going to say, Foley was one Raw.
Yeah, it was Raw, my bad.
So you're wrong altogether.
Oh, well, I'll admit it now. I just put the wrong thing down, but it's still the same thing is put on there. So where did Raw emanate from the night that Mick Foley first won the WWE Championship?
It's fucking... I don't know. What's like state or...
I need to know the place and the state.
What the fuck right off?
I told you, Matt. Did I not? But it was ultra difficult.
You big motherfucker. Where'd you come from? So all of a sudden I look down on my knee and there's a fucking spider crawling across it.
Well, that's from the difficulty of the quiz. You know, I concocted this in a vat of spiders and snakes. So
I don't know.
I'd have to take some answer.
I guess, I don't know, fucking Cleveland, Ohio. I don't know.
No, not Cleveland, Ohio. It was Worcester, Massachusetts. So there you go. Are you ready for number 2 then? You're getting the idea of how well
I'm getting the idea of this. Okay.
All right. Number 2. December to Dismember, which we talked about earlier on, in 2006 is known as one of the worst pay-per-views of all time. But tell me, what was the second match to air on the main card?
December to Dismember's second match?
To air on its main card. It had one pre-show match.
Okay.
This is where this is one of your bad DVDs you've got and you're searching around for it.
No, it's not. No, I do not have that one. He was on I can't remember who was on the fucking card. Are we on about like 2006 December to Dismember? It must be.
So give you a little bit of a hint. It's WWE's ECW.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, was that a year Lashley won?
You're trying here. I appreciate that. I do. I have to say, the first time we did this, I was taking great glee in it. Now I'm afraid to, because I'm afraid you might get one of these right and it will just head back on me. So I've got genuine worry here. But
Striker match, was it?
Oh, well,
I remember there being a really shitty match, which was Matt Striker's match.
Okay, well, you have to give me who was in it?
Oh, fuck off. Davari, someone like that shit.
Is that what you're going with?
The fuck it, I'll go with Davari.
Right. So you're going with Davari versus Matt Striker?
Yeah.
Okay. You actually got one half right. It was Matt Striker. So you got that right. He wrestled Balls Mahoney.
Oh, yeah, like I fucking remember who Balls Mahoney is.
So, you know what, man? That's pretty good, though. That you
the fact that I remember who Davari is a fucking shock.
When you said that, I was like, fuck. All right, then. Number 3. Tell me all 3 locations that WrestleMania 2 took place in.
WrestleMania 2's 3 spots?
Mm-hmm. It was the only WrestleMania to take place in 3 locations.
Yeah. One was New York.
Mm-hmm.
California.
I've been very relaxed because I was initially going to ask you for the arenas, but okay, go on.
Is it Chicago? Is it Illinois?
All right, I'll give you this one. Yeah, you're all right. Yeah, it's right. So let me give you the full name. It was the Nassau Coliseum in New York.
Right.
The Rosemont Horizon in Illinois. which I don't think it was. Is that in Chicago? I'll just go with Illinois. You got Illinois. That's okay with me. And the LA Sports Arena in LA. So yeah, I'll give you that one, Matt, because that one was a lot harder than I thought.
Huzzah!
So I'll give you a little bit of benefit of the doubt with that one. All right. Number 4. This is evil. Very fucking evil. Because I don't even think this aired on the main show. And if it did, it was like a 5-minute thing that people would probably have gone for a piss for.
Yeah.
At SummerSlam 2004, there was a Diva dodgeball match. Tell me 4 members of the winning team.
Of the winning team.
Of the winning team.
Oh, fuck. Oh, wasn't it all the year that they got dicked over by the actual... Oh. No, because that would have been like Kelly and that. That's wrong. 2004, so I'm going Divas of 2004. Keebler?
Nope.
No? Oh, the winning team.
The winning team.
Oh.
I think she was involved, but not on the winning team, so... You've got like 7 guesses to get 4 of them, and you've got 1 wrong, so you can only get 2 more wrong.
I don't know. Like, I can only just imagine that she would like, because now I'm just like Stacey Keebler. No. Oh, so that's basically thrown out my whole mind thought, because I'm just like, I've got like maybe like Trish Stratus and things like that. But if that's the case, no.
I'll take another guess. Or another answer if you can.
It's fuck yeah, I know. Chrissy Hemme?
That's correct.
Ah. So I'm in the right ballpark. That's terrible. I'm sorry.
You instantly apologize, yeah.
Shit. My mind's just gone completely blank. The fucking and others. Fucking.
You have to give me an answer.
I don't have an answer.
Would you like to give up?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to give up.
Okay. Well, here were the 7 winning people. Now, some of them obviously got eliminated, but they're still on the winning team.
Of the winning team, yeah.
Krista Hemme obviously was the one that you got.
Yeah.
Looking like when I went back and watched this today, she looks crazy. I remember her being drop dead gorgeous. She is drop dead gorgeous. But I looked at her and she looks crazy in comparison to the rest of them. The person who was a fucking beast and basically annihilated all the actual like proper divas, because this team was made up of basically of like the Diva Search girls, right? The one beast that destroyed all of them was Michelle McCool. She fucking annihilated all of them, basically. She was mental. Maria was in that list as well. So they're the 3 that I thought you might have got. Here are the ones that Matt.
McCool. McCool was in it, wasn't she?
That's what I just said. Michelle McCool was the one that was a beast to get. So
yeah.
So here are the 3 that you probably wouldn't have gotten, because like one of them was even intelligible. Like people didn't even know her name. So one of them was Joy Giovanni. Amy Weber, and one that I could only get the name of, and I tried a lot to try and find a name. It was just Tracy. I couldn't find a second name or what she was referred to, or even if that was her name. So, yeah, that made it a lot harder, really. Even when I don't know the answer, you know it's hard. So, but still, you still got 6 people there out of 4 that I could have answered to, and I probably would have just given you whoever Tracy was if you'd given me an answer anyway. So, there you are. But there you go. Okay, number 5, Matt. In Mordecai's only WWE pay-per-view, who did he beat in singles action?
Oh, fucking Mordecai. Oh.
This is probably the one I think that, because for some reason people really like Mordecai. because he was just like such a built up character that disappeared after like 2 weeks. So I thought maybe there might be some fans out there that like for some reason enjoy him and would have known this. But anyway, who did he beat in singles action?
The trouble is, I can only just keep thinking Mordecai, but it's like, it's fucking Kevin Thorne.
Yeah. What's weird is that he went away from being Mordecai and then like he went on the independent circuit for like a year and then came back to like the new ECW. It was like I can't understand what was their thought track with that, but still, anyway.
It's fucking American Bash, wasn't it?
I actually don't know the pay-per-view personally, but there you are. I think I was under the impression it was Unforgiven, but it doesn't, you know.
I think he was American Bash.
Don't go looking for it, because otherwise that's cheating now.
I'm not. No. Oh, so at the time, someone is equally forgettable. I'm gonna go around that sort of time. Oh, Hardcore Holly, I suppose.
Hardcore Holly. That's a good pick. That is a good pick, but it's wrong. It's not the correct one. But I to be honest, he's exactly the sort of guy that he would have put in here just to lose randomly and then move on. It was Scotty Too Hotty. He beat Scotty Too Hotty in singles action. So,
okay.
I think that's more towards the end of Scotty Too Hotty's run, or Too Cool in general. So, so Matt, you did pretty well. Like you're doing this. Matt, would you not agree? This is almost cruel. Like the WrestleMania one, yeah. That probably people would have got that, but
okay.
But you got 1 out of 5 anyway, Matt. So that's pretty good. Ultra difficult. What one do you think is going to be the one?
Great American Bash.
What was it in? Have you looked it up?
I'm having a look.
I thought it was Unforgiven or Judgment Day or something like that because it was supposed to coincide with him.
Great American Bash, 2004. Match number 7. Mordecai defeated Hardcore Holly.
No. Let me have a look now. So let me have a look here. So here we go. So was originally created for the Smackdown brand on May the 16th, 2004 during the Judgment Day pay-per-view defeating Scotty Too Hotty. That's what I have.
Okay, Google it now. Great American Bash 2004. Because I'm on the wiki now.
Looking at this. Well, it's still. Oh, you're quite right. Wow. Okay, so I'll give you that one as well, Matt. I should have gone with his first pay-per-view match. I thought it was his only one because that's the one I looked at. But there we go.
Yeah.
You know what, Matt? You know what? Anyone who got Scotty Too Hotty or Hardcore Holly, I'll give you that, Matt. So that's 2 out of 5. There you go. I'll give you that. So I'll just rename that as anyone. Who are the only people he wrestled? There you go. Because I'm looking through the rest of the list of like the pay-per-views of that year now, and he's not making any sort of appearances here. Like I'm going through SummerSlam 04, nope. Unforgiven 04, nope. You know what I mean? But at least my initial assessment was correct that his first one was at Judgment Day. But there we are. It's Scotty Too Hotty, so there you go. Man, I need to get better at looking up on my my research then.
Research sorted, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe your thoughts are better than mine, Matt. Maybe you need to become the new quizmaster, dare I say.
Oh.
See what happens there. So you did pretty well there, Matt. You did pretty well on that front. So, okie dokie. That leads us to our Raw review and our SmackDown review. I'm actually getting really hot sitting here and doing this show. Jesus Christ. It's like, I'm not even doing this up in the bedroom where I normally get roasting, but jeez. The Raw review then. On the show, that promised a brand new Universal Champion.
Mm-hmm.
It's time for this belt really to start getting off the ground and prove that it's not cursed, which is what I said. The Raw set is exactly the same as SummerSlam from last
I guess it kind of is cursed.
It's
no. Well, to be fair, it's like Kevin Owens wins it, and then some dickhead attacks his son. So,
yeah, but still. So, yeah, like I said, the Raw set is exactly the same one as from SummerSlam. So I'm guessing that's what they're running with now. They decided.
Yeah, the SmackDown one hasn't changed yet. It's been good.
Oh, maybe I did hear apparently the new sets aren't ready, so maybe they're just going to run with the SummerSlam set until they're both ready. I don't know. But I tell you what, it looks different and it looks cool and it's got a different, feel to it. So I'm happy with that. I've got no problem. So we start off with all 4 title contenders in the ring in a sit-down interview with Corey Graves, the title in the center of the ring. And Owens is on the mic tearing it up. Of course, as we would know, this would end up being his big night. But he says with Sami Zayn out of the picture, he can move on and win the championship. Big Cass gets his time to talk and says that he might be the underdog, but he's still the biggest dog in the fight. And then makes a subtle quip at Seth Rollins' dick pics. So, yeah.
Fair enough.
We do know that he's of our ilk because he likes a good joke about the dick. He likes
man penis.
Yeah, he does. He's been wanting to test that area before in terms of comedy, and I appreciate it here on the show. Believe me, guys, just the reason why I bring this up is because this is a tester for Big Cass. I imagine Vince is watching his role in this situation very carefully and planning ahead for him. I've heard constant reports, we've brought it up here on the show before, that Vince really likes Big Cass and he wants a good future for him. Yeah. So, that's the reason why he was put in this match to begin with. It's just a taster. It's just a little, a bedding in period for maybe things down the line. And, so Roman chooses that, instead of fighting, instead of speaking, he's going to fight. Which, to be fair, thinking of it now, if that had been the plan for him a long time ago, then he might not be getting booed every single week if he chose to fight rather than speak. But yabba dabba, folks, and all these other nursery rhymes, Jack and the Beanstalk,
suffering succotash.
Suffering succotash. We all know it. If he just kept his fucking mouth shut and beat people up, maybe this wouldn't be a problem. But still, Jericho versus Neville. Jericho was speaking to Tom Phillips backstage. He wants to give Neville the gift of Jericho, man. Do you like that, man? Yeah. I'm actually planning on giving my wife a cardboard cutout of Jericho for our anniversary. It's the gift of Jericho.
Man.
I suspect, though, if I do that, a divorce will be in order. Yes. I don't think... Yeah. Jokes aside, though, Jericho is playing a bit more of a goofy heel role now, but he's still entertaining. He's a positive part of the show. And no matter what kind of heel he's playing, he'll knock out of the park. It's just Jericho. He knows how to do a heel. It's just... He's one of those guys, Matt, we said before, he's a far better heel than he ever will be a face. That's just the bottom line of it.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, Matt, as I was watching this match, and depending on considering my gaffes in my quizzing, as I do on occasion, and maybe I do have this wrong, but maybe you can tell me otherwise. But I remember that Jericho and Neville had a match at that Beast in the East special back when Balor won the NXT title.
Yes.
So it's not my cloudy memory getting the better of me then? No,
they had that.
If I remember, if this is because I was thinking to myself, they must have had a match. I remember it being pretty good. This reminded me a lot of that match that I was thinking of. So clearly there was something there, and that this match was good.
I can imagine it must have been good because it's picking up where they essentially left off with the unfortunate breaking of Neville's ankle.
Yes. And you know what, Matt? What was cool here is that they had some really cool close calls and some really neat little counters to each other's big moves here. It was almost like a bit of a clinic in counter wrestling and waiting for your moment. And there was a part here where at the end of the match, Jericho gets out of the way of the Red Arrow, but then locks in the Walls of Jericho from that, to get a submission victory. Oh. And he proper gets in the talk where he's not doing the Boston Crab, but he's got the knee in the back of the head already talking the legs.
Like the proper one rather than this pussy one that he's been doing.
That's it. Very good opener to the show. That was some pretty good wrestling right there, right off the bat. And you know what? I needed that because although I didn't have too much of a problem with the title, being the focus of the opening segment of the show, it still doesn't start the show off with like a massive bang. Whereas this kind of it kicked things into gear a bit, and it was quite enjoyable. Nia Jax wrestled a woman who has a big heart. So they give a nice little video segment that gives us some backstory of the woman who's about to die. And then she gets killed. That's really so much here. She's a woman who has a big heart. That's what she said. When she has a big heart, it's been eaten, so it's not there anymore. I'll tell you what, at this point, they should just build up a Nia Jax and Braun Strowman WrestleMania match. Just keep giving them squashes from now on out. Just go, fuck it, we'll go intergender with it and make them both kill each other, What happens when the two squash masters go head-to-head? Although, considering how green both of them can be at the baddest of times, that might not be the best for everyone, but still. Matt, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson were doctors. Now they are retirement agents. So now they're planning people's retirements. I think we need to get these guys like a nice play set, a bunch of costumes. They can play make-believe with all their friends because they just seem to like being random roles. They're basically, my kids today, they decided to want to be like, they wanted to be firefighters, police officers, doctors. They're just like Gallows and Anderson, just deciding, fuck it, I'm just going to be an astronaut today,
Because why not?
Why not? Yeah. I shouldn't give WWE ideas because I imagine next week Carl Anderson comes down with one of the astronaut helmets and he's doing. I don't really want to.
Spaceman.
Let's not go there, Matt. Let's not go there. So this is a team that can pull off comedy, but they simply shouldn't. That's basically what's going on here. This isn't the role it should be filling. It should be the complete opposite. They should be adding legitimacy to that tag team division. They should be the no-nonsense, okay, New Day, you want to parade around and dance around, we're going to knock you the fuck out and make you taste reality a bit here. But they're not. They're honestly, in a feud with the New Day, for you to be the goofier tag team, there's something seriously wrong on.
Oh, yeah.
Something's not right with that. So, yeah, they have Dana Brooke come in, and she's still a nurse, and she's being a nurse and saying, fucking bollocks. So, there you go. WWE do a great job, though, in building up this main event. They give each individual guy a mini video package with interviews done just for the match itself and saying about each guy, how important the match is to them and how much it could catapult their careers and along those lines. So they basically built the entire show around that one match, being as monumental as it
could be or could feel.
Yeah, basically they were promoting it, and I've got no problem with that. It made, when that final match did come on, even though it was at the arse end of 3 hours, I was still pumped up to see how it ended.
Yeah.
It's still good. Jinder Mahal versus Sami Zayn. Here's a guy who is unfortunately floundering pretty hard at the moment. I said it back at the SummerSlam review, but he went from giving us one hell of a match with Kevin Owens to doing absolutely nothing at all, and now he's just going through the motions against guys like Jinder Mahal.
I was going to say you're on about Sami Zayn then.
Yeah, no, not Jinder Mahal.
Well, you was like, Jinder Mahal's floundering. What a shock.
Well, he is, but I'm not going to go to bat for Jinder Mahal, shall we say. I just hope that management gets something in place with him before he starts to get, dare I say, a bit stale, a bit stuck in place. That would be the exact opposite of what he needs at the moment. So maybe they're just keeping him around a little bit because he's got a victory over Kevin Owens in his last match, and look who's the champion. So technically, wouldn't he have a beef to say about that? Maybe he's got a title shot in the wings. I'm just saying maybe they don't want to put him in something at the moment because they know what's coming on down the line. That's what I've got my fingers crossed for, but we'll see where that goes. A quick match here. Sami Zayn hits the Helluva Kick, but it sounded like he really fucking hit the guy. There was a loud thud, almost like when Lesnar fucking hit the elbow against Orton. You hear that bang, not as bad as that, but still there was a big thud. But he walks out the winner anyway. We get a intergender tag team match, New Day and Bayley versus the Club and Dana Brooke. With Bayley and New Day coming out on the Titantron, Matt, it just seemed like a colour orgasm.
I can imagine. That's just a lot to take in.
It is. It is. To be honest, like I don't have epilepsy, but even I was struggling not to have a fit when they came out. It was like, oh, okay, that's a little bit too much for my brain to process there, guys. So, but still. Charlotte is in commentary. She's throwing a lot in Sasha's direction along the lines of her losing her first title defense and not having any excuse for losing. And I'm like, yeah, she's actually kind of right. That was the problem with the heel winning clean. It completely diminishes the face's legitimacy, which is a problem. You know, I mean, that's basically Sasha comes back. She can't go, well, you won because of this, and I want it to be a fair fight. It's like, yeah, you beat me completely, 100% legit. Yeah. Okay. You know what I mean? Like, she's got no real basis to come out and be like, well, why don't you fight me fair on fair, woman on woman? It's like, because she already did that and she already beat you. So, but still. There was a weird thing here, Matt. So they go to commercial in the middle of this match, right? Which obviously isn't unheard of. And when they come back, when they come back, you instantly think what they're going to be doing is, like, when you come back from commercial, the camera will be on the match and the commentary will just pick up, you know, from it. Oh, welcome back to Raw. We're in a match here with blah, 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 blah.
Oh, you'd like to think so.
And then they carry on as it is. What they did was really a bit dumb. I don't know who wrote this or came up with the idea of this. So when they come back from commentary, all four of the commentary booth, because it's the three guys and Charlotte.
True.
Are all looking at the camera that normally overlooks them at the start of the show. So they have to be looking away from the ring to be looking into this camera. Okay? And they're all talking about, oh, well, welcome back to Raw. We're very interested in the match that's going on at the moment. I'm like...
We're not even paying attention to it.
you're not even watching the fucking match. Like, it makes no sense. Everyone's like, yeah, well, look, that match is great. And I'm like, then why aren't you fucking watching it? Like, you're not even watching the fucking match. It just seemed weird. It didn't make any sense. But, yeah. Still, a bit strange. This match goes on for quite a while. I tuned out for a portion of it. Bayley hits her finish on Dana, and yet again, the New Day get an official victory over the Club. I think that's like number 4 now in title that they've beaten the Club.
Ooh,
so,
quite possibly.
Yeah. Gallows and Anderson might end up like the Dudley Boys the more this goes on, which is the absolute worst. I'm already losing confidence in these guys. It hasn't been that long. They've been around less time than AJ Styles.
Yeah.
And at the very beginning, Matt, when this sort of stuff happened and they were losing matches, I was like, listen, they're in the main event picture with Styles. They're getting airtime every single week, and, you know, now I can't defend it. Now their stock is dropping. Now they're not viewed as ass kickers anymore. They're viewed as a little bit like a joke. They're making massive goofballs of themselves, which is not what we wanted from this team, and it's not where they should have been applied. But that's where it's going at the moment, and it's a real shame. Even at the point now, even if you were to give the Club the victory to win the tag team championships, even though I don't know why they would even be considered as number one contenders, considering I know there was a DQ at SummerSlam, so technically, but they've just been losing tons of matches to the New Day. They've got no right, in my opinion, to have a match for the titles, which is painful to say out loud, really, but that's just the bottom line. Cesaro versus Sheamus for the 9th millionth time. As you could probably tell, I don't really care about this feud. Yeah. However, Michael Cole does say in the middle of this match that whoever wins this tournament that they're having, the best of 7 series, will get a title opportunity. And I'm like, that's the first time I'm hearing about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Cesaro looked in control, lands awkwardly on the outside. Sheamus locks in the cloverleaf and Cesaro taps out. Goes 2-0 up in the series. I expect that Cesaro will win the next one, Sheamus will win the next one, and then Cesaro will win all the remaining matches to win the series.
So it continues.
Yeah. Because obviously then Sheamus only needs to win 2 more, but you'll only win 1 more. So he'll lose the next one, win the one after that, and then he'll lose all the remaining matches, and Cesaro will win the series. Because you can't have Sheamus go against Rusev for the US title. Just makes no sense. And people wouldn't want to watch it, so there we are. Braun Strowman, Matt, wrestled Beef Wellington with a side of frites.
I thought he wrestled a Power Ranger this week.
Yes, but let's face it, he was much of a Power Ranger as I am a dinosaur.
Okay, fair enough.
And I don't have tiny arms, and I can't roar that loudly, and I'm not a fucking dinosaur, so... He's more akin to Beef Wellington with a side of frites than he is a Power Ranger. I'll just put that down there.
Okay, fair enough.
But, you know, if you want to, why have I got the image in my head now of Beef Wellington with a mask on it? Just don't know why. But still. And his manager, of course.
I'm just thinking just like of a Beef Wellington just with an eye patch, but, you know.
Yeah. A Gordon
Ramsay.
Not
an eye patch, like a monocle, just like, yeah.
So Strowman burps the mask out after devouring the Beef Wellington. And for those wondering, yes, I have started adoption proceedings on Braun Strowman. It's clear now that he needs a father figure in his life, and I can be that man. Just to, you know, he's one of those guys, you just have to tickle him the right side of his beard, and he's just a cuddly little schnookums. Yeah. That's it. And I could do that for him. I'm a father of 2 kids already. And,
okay, fair enough.
He's just a bit bigger. That's all it is. He'll be fine. You know? He'll be all right. They show footage of some of the newer CWC recruits in Cedric Alexander, and obviously they're going to bring Ciampa and Gargano up. So there's going to be a lot of people debuting on Raw in 3 weeks' time when that cruiserweight division comes up. Raw needs it because that third hour could do pretty well if you were to dedicate at least half an hour of that time to a decent cruiserweight match every week.
Fair enough, but you've already got people who are struggling to get TV time as it is, so you sure it's a wise idea to go chucking in like a new sort of half dozen people?
I think WWE, when they say, we're finding time struggling to get people in, you shouldn't try and struggle to get people in. You make storylines that are entertaining and you put them out there. Yeah. If some people aren't on those lists, then what you do is that you give them something backstage to do in the interim, or remove them from television and try and repackage them for a later deal, or make a tag team out. You know, there's lots of different ways. I don't like the idea of people trying to be forced into matches. Like, as much as I want Sami Zayn to be put in something serious, if the plan down the line is to eventually put him in a championship title feud, then he could have a couple of weeks away. It wouldn't be too much of a problem. And then you dedicate that to something else and give that proper time to start simmering. But it's that. I think this also actually is going to a bit of a deeper conversation. I think the reason why people are more critical nowadays is because that trust is gone. The fan base doesn't believe that WWE is going to make good on their promises. And when a guy goes away for a couple of weeks, that they're going to come back with a proper story. It's more along the lines of when they go away for a couple of weeks, they're not coming back at all. You know, so they've put themselves in a bit of a corner. Yeah. So, you know, like, for instance, NXT, there was times where 3 weeks would go by without you seeing Finn Balor, the champion. You know, you wouldn't see him. There would be lots of other matches, and maybe you'd see like a video package of him, but he wouldn't be on the show wrestling. I know it's only a 1 hour show, but what I'm saying is it's not needed to cram all these guys in every single week. You know what I mean? That's basically what I'm getting at there. But WWE feel that's what they have to do. Stephanie comes out to talk about Brock Lesnar's actions at SummerSlam. It's not long before Paul Heyman comes out to interject, and he says that Lesnar won SummerSlam for Raw, and I understand he went a bit crazy, so I'm going to pay the fine of $500 in $1 bills. And he just basically just brings out his wad and starts fucking... Like, almost like Stephanie's a stripper, so I can understand why she was pissed off with it. He's basically just starts throwing money at her.
Making it rain on her.
Yeah, making it rain, yeah. They then talk about the impending storm, and basically they're trying to build up like WWE's version of Game of Thrones about a power vacuum and boards of directors and the swords of Damocles. And I'm like, this isn't very entertaining. This is boring. What you're doing right here. This whole, because of Brock did what he did, there's a war coming. And I'm like, okay.
You heard that apparently they're going to be doing that match on a house show.
What match? What? Orton and Lesnar.
Orton Lesnar, yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I find it's much more easier if you had Heyman started making moves himself to try and lodge himself as the guy in control of Raw. I know they won't do it because, Stephanie and the McMahons need their power fantasies, even though they do have considerable power without it. But they need to show it off in storyline.
But I also think Heyman would never do that.
Yeah, well, the way I look at it is that one way you could look at it would be like, well, Lesnar. He could be saying, Lesnar won SummerSlam for Raw, but then Lesnar starts taking out guys on Raw associated with Stephanie. And suddenly Stephanie's like, what the fuck is he doing? And Heyman's like, well, I can't control him. I don't know what he's doing. He's you're the one hiring him. I'm just his fucking advocate. But actually Lesnar's paving the way for Heyman to come in and take over, and that's their final endgame. I just think that's a little bit more interesting, a little bit more of a unique storyline than what they're currently going with, which is the McMahon power vacuum. Which I'm
There's a lot more Game of Thrones. If they want to start making Game of Thrones references, that's a much better Thrones reference.
Yeah, but like the McMahon power vacuum, I feel like we've done that story about 5 times. Now, granted, some of them are a lot more memorable than others, but we have been there and we have done that. Technically, we've already done it with maybe Heyman trying to do stuff like this before as well, with the whole invasion angle. But still, I don't know. And to be honest, I felt like this whole promo went nowhere. I thought it was a bit redundant, personally. So it is what it is. Titus O'Hill versus Darren Young. Again, you may have heard me, Matt, say that a lot of times over the last couple of months, really. I don't know why, but it just feels like constantly that these guys are either wrestling each other or wrestling with each other. Like, they're never away from each other. I'd like them to wrestle, not even Titus. I'd like to see Darren Young wrestle other people.
Yeah.
It feels like he came in, he had the IC title match that didn't go his way, and since then it's been nothing but Titus. Just Titus. Guess what? The last time we saw Darren Young, it was the same thing. It was Titus. And it didn't really get anywhere. It's not getting either guy over. So Darren Young wins the match, rolls up Titus. But this isn't the end because they've now got a win each, and the feud has already outstayed its welcome. Titus attacks Young and Backlash after the match, probably still pissed off for giving probably the worst promo of the year last week. Although Kalisto running away from his promo, I don't know, that's going to be a tough award to give.
To beat.
It's good. It's between these two guys, Matt. It's between Kalisto and the one thing I'll say about Titus O'Neil, at very least, he didn't run away from his promo. So there is that one thing,
Yeah, we can give him that then.
Kalisto, ended up fucking up his promo so badly he had to escape. He had to flee.
Bye.
I still laugh thinking about it. It's so fucking stupid. This leads to the main event then. Reigns, Owens, Rollins, and Big Cass for the Universal Championship to crown the second champion, but the first one that would hold it for more than 24 hours. Well, more than 20 hours, or how long he actually held it for. Clearly, this is a good match. You've heard all the plaudits, before, along the lines. And this is a good match. It's an entertaining match. It really kicks up after Big Cass gets eliminated, but Big Cass does have a big showing here. Big Cass gets a big showing. My words are not very on fly. Yes, words, something, whatever. Yes. He gets pinned after a frog splash from Owens. Now, as the match goes on and on...
Wasn't it? It was meant to be like a fatal 4-way, and then it became an elimination match, didn't it?
Yeah, they didn't explain that very well going in. I will say that, but I don't think it damaged the match too much. I think that once Cass was eliminated, people got the idea pretty quickly, and they were into it. Yeah. I will say though, as this match went on, and some of the high spots started coming into play, some of the close calls, Michael Cole is doing his very best to call this like Mauro Ranallo can, but he can't do it. He just doesn't have...
And then it's just like, but wait a second, he's not Mauro Ranallo.
Yeah. He doesn't have that voice that makes the match feel like it enters a different level, that it's squeaky bum time in this match, that it's time to nut up or shut up.
Yeah.
With Cole, it just feels like he's just louder. Does it, like with Ranallo, it feels like he's gripping the fucking table and he's like on the edge of his seat as he's fucking calling the match. With Cole, it just feels like he's just getting louder. He's just shouting.
Yeah,
doesn't feel like his emotion gets any higher or anything.
He's not invested. He doesn't come across as invested.
Yeah, I'm sure he is. I'm sure he's trying. He was trying his best, and he really is. He's really trying to get over. Oh wow, look at this! And it's just like he just doesn't have what Ronaldo and a JR has. I just don't know. It just doesn't have that raw tenacity to his voice. I just don't know. But there was a certain moment here where I think it was like when Rollins hit like a knee and he went for the pinfall on like Reigns or something, and you've got like Michael Cole, this match is amazing. It's like, that's one other thing I hate that he does as well. He starts calling the match amazing rather than letting us make our own assumptions to it.
Yeah.
Like that, you shouldn't do that as a commentator. You should say, oh, well, this match is getting to a different level, or you could say this match is reaching, this is like the last blows of the match. You can't just go, well, this match is amazing, goddammit. It comes across as a bit disingenuous.
Yeah, like you can't go, oh, this match is a match of the year candidate. It's like, no, weird to draw that conclusion. Yeah,
you can't do that. You can't. There's very rare matches that I think even JR did that. And I think the only match I remember him saying stuff like that in was that Shawn Michaels Undertaker match. I think you can give him a little bit of a break on that one because it clearly was. We're getting into the last 2 minutes of that match and you realise that this is something very special, So this leads us to the finish. So Reigns goes on a bit of a tear and he's just laying out everyone. He's laid out Owens. He's laid out Rollins. He looks like he's got the pair of them at his mercy. But just as he rolls Rollins back into the ring, the game shows back up. Haven't seen him since losing at WrestleMania, so that's a long time ago now.
Yeah.
He pedigrees Reigns, sends him into the ring. Rollins is like, yes, fantastic, awesome. Pins Reigns, he gets eliminated. That was obviously followed by a chorus of cheers, of course. So this leads Owens and Rollins. So Triple H doesn't let them fight to see who's going to become the last one. Literally, from Reigns getting pedigreed, there's literally only like 2 minutes left in the match. It wraps up very quickly from then. He gets Owens up. He looks like he's setting him up to take a pedigree himself, but he turns around and lays out Rollins instead. So Rollins is no longer the chosen one, and he beckons over Owens, much like he did to Randy Orton when he cashed in, Money in the Bank against Bryan.
Yeah, he screwed over Bryan.
Yeah. Beckons him over. Owens can't really believe what's going on, but he pins him, wins. Even when he's winning, he's looking up at Triple H like, what the fuck just happened? And then it kind of sets in, wait a minute, I'm actually the world champion. So, or the universal champion, as they're calling it. Awesome ending. Most people disliked the manner of the ending. They liked Owens winning, obviously, but they didn't like that Triple H was the decider in it. I don't look at it that way. Owens is a heel, and heels win matches by being heels, by cheating, by making deals, by playing the odds in their favor, right? I know that Owens, it didn't look like he did that, but still he capitalized on the situation. That's just what heels do. They never win. They shouldn't win clean. I've been talking about heels winning clean on SummerSlam, and I said it's very detrimental. It just doesn't make any sense. It destroys your heels. Sorry, it destroys your faces. And one thing that this does as well is that if you just have Owens beat Rollins, Rollins would still be heel. He's not heel anymore. He's going to come out as being face.
Because he's the one who got screwed over and left behind.
Yeah, he got screwed. He had the match in the... Reigns technically had the match in the palm of his hand, but after what happened with Reigns, you can basically just mark that down to Triple H getting some revenge on the guy who took his title at WrestleMania. Yep. Rollins really was in control. He could have taken out, it was in the palm of his hand, So I think this is the face turn of Rollins. I think Rollins is going to become the top face and Owens is going to become the top heel. Though I said before, Matt, that I think that Rollins is the guy I would probably make as the next top face. I think that he's ready. He should have come back as a face, but if they're doing it now, then okay, I'm still good with it. So I don't have a problem with the way it ended. Personally, I can understand why some people do because they want not it to be decided by outside sources of a great match. This leads to very interesting storylines going forward, and that's all I ask for. You've got that future storyline, that WrestleMania match between Rollins and Triple H, which I like, which looks like it might be going forward, with Rollins being the face. And you've got now Kevin Owens possibly being that, what have I called him? That once in a generation heel, he's now got that chance. Now he'll have the spotlight to become the heel that he was meant to be. He was destined to be. He was the chosen one. But and it's obviously a great reward for Owens, considering his body of work over the last few years. Such a consistent performer and a speaker. I honestly thought the ending was shocking. I thought it was enthralling, and I heavily enjoyed it. That's all I really have to say. But all in all, a show that's worth a watch, mostly for that first match with Jericho and Neville and the final match for the championship. The rest is actually pretty paint by numbers mid-monther. So I've seen some people go and say, well, this is one of the best Raws of the year. No, it's not. The ending was pretty cool, and that will be remembered for a long time. But the rest of the show was pretty pants. Let's just be honest, it wasn't that great. So I give it a watch once, and it's like just a general watch once, because I don't think it's worth giving like a watch over and over again for that last 20 minutes, which was a really good match and a really cool ending. But the rest of the show is just average, just very average. That's just the bottom line of it there.
I had heard about all of that when it's with Raw's like the best one for a while, and then I spoke to you earlier in the day, and it's just sort of like, it's all right.
It's because they ended on a high note. They ended on Kevin Owens, lifting the championship. That's what a lot of people have wanted for a while, and they're solely remembering just that. And the shocking, interjection of Triple H.
Yeah.
Whereas the rest of the show, I mean, just looking over there, just reviewing it from bit to bit, that Stephanie and Heyman promo, I didn't think was that good. You got Titus O'Hill, Darren Young, meh. You've got Braun Strowman doing what he does. You've got Cesaro and Shay. I'll go through the list of it. It's all very average. That's just really what it is. So it's just that main event that makes it from being a skip it to a watch once. That's really all it is. So there we are. Smackdown review. Anyway, you said there was some interesting parts on this show.
Yeah, sort of. Yes. My only thing is just like, I'll get to it. It opens up with continuing on from last week's Talking Smack. And
from the Miz,
from the Miz, and it's not really. It's not really much. This was basically the Miz comes out and he's just sort of like, "Oh, I'm not a coward." Blah 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 blah. Whinge. Usual shit.
Remember when we said that last week though? With that, we said, it was really good, but it's what he does next week that's more important.
Currently, nothing.
Go on. Yeah,
currently, nothing is happening. Like Ziggler goes out to the ring. Excuse me. And he's just sort of like, well, maybe you are a coward. This is what it is. People call you a coward. Like, you've been here for so long, so what? But, like, we all see through you. You're just here to be famous, sort of thing. But I know I messaged you this. It's almost like Ziggler's forgot how to cut a promo.
Okay,
so where he went from so much passion in his words, like when he was feuding with Ambrose, and now all of a sudden it's just died.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
So you can tell he got his teeth into that rivalry. Then he lost and realised that he's Dolph Ziggler, and then he went back to his usual stick.
I'm Dolph Ziggler. I don't cut promos. Yeah. But yeah, it was just sort of like, if you're not a coward, you can prove it now to me, to everyone. Like, you can fight me right now, sort of thing. Come on, do it. Like, it's the worst part is he leaves. Obviously, the Miz leaves. Yeah, what a shock. And it hits a point where I'm like, oh my God, it's going to happen. They're going to pull it. They basically try to play a like a Back to the Future. It's like, what's the matter? Chicken? Sort of thing.
Oh, no.
It's just sort of like, essentially it was like, maybe you are a coward. And it's just sort of like, oh no. Crowd's just sort of like, you're a coward, and starts chanting at the Miz. But the Miz turns around, he's like, rah! Goes to the ring, goes to the apron, and fucks off.
Okay.
So we get nothing out of that. That was like 5 minutes of nothing. But opening match was fairly solid. Hype Bros versus the Vaudevillains. As you'd expect.
So not that good then, no.
Yeah. It was fairly solid. Like Ryder was the most over person in that ring, but yeah, it was solid. It was some good wrestling, I suppose.
But not. When you say good wrestling, it didn't seem like it really got you that interested.
No, not terribly. But the Hype Bros are into the next stage of this tag team tournament.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they did the Hype Rider on Aiden English, and that was it. The worst part is they did this terrible video package beforehand of the Vaudevillains. It's like, what are the things we like? And it's just like the sounds of Beethoven and and then like gosh, it's just like the sound of a man's cartilage snapping. It's like, stop trying to make yourself sound like hard and roughy toughy like that, because it's fucking pathetic. But anyway, we get this like backstage promo. Not backstage promo. We get Styles walking around backstage. He's still wearing the Never Give Up armband as a headband.
Oh
whatever.
Yeah, he's taken it on and adorned it himself.
Yeah, this is now his thing, and he's just like seen walking around backstage, just going, "How you doing, AJ Styles? Face that runs the place. AJ Styles, face that runs the place." Just like going on at everyone, and he walks up to Apollo Crews like, "Hey, it's you, guy, not even worth remembering." And this is where Apollo Crews basically thinks it's time to teach you how to spell, because he'll spell Crews, and it's just a whole heap of pointless. Because Styles like, "Oh well, I'm the face that runs the place. Bye." He just carries on going.
See, when I've got draft picks that spell out things, it's a lot more fun on Raw. You know, the SAWFT. You know, it's not the same as CREWS. You know, so.
No, I know. But yeah, it's just a bit weird. Styles goes out to the ring. He gets announced as like we get the whole making his way to the ring. Like he now requests that I refer to him as the face that runs the place. He's proper eating it. But he goes out into the ring. He goes to cut a promo about how he's the face that runs the place again. And Crews interferes. He's just sort of like, you kind of dicked me a bit with that like backstage. And guess what? Yeah, I got a match now. It's quite a solid match, actually. It's one of those moments where it sort of like definitely shows Crews off with his sort of aerial side, but also his power, because he catches he sort of catches Styles in from a crossbody and like flips it and drops to a Samoan drop, but it's like all in one fell clean swoop, and it looks really pretty. It was quite a good match, actually. There is a lot of just showing what Crews can do rather than, hey, everyone, let's just dick all over him sort of thing.
Yeah, like it's one of those things that like Styles is such a established talent now that even like Crews losing to him, as long as it's a closely contested match, I guess it would still look good.
It was a good match. And like commentary were doing a really good job sort of like hyping up Crews. Like doing the whole, the usual, he shouldn't be that strong but fly like he does sort of thing. But hey, one phenomenal forearm and it's all over. So it doesn't really matter. Styles gets the win. What do we get? Oh, Wyatt and Orton promo. Very nice promo. I quite like this promo. That was one thing a lot of people probably go, it wasn't too great. I quite enjoyed it. It's Wyatt talking about the voices in Orton's head and how he's like the one to take care of damaged men. And Orton comes out and he's sort of like, they're talking about like fear and sort of like Wyatt doesn't fear anyone. Orton's like, well, I don't fear you, Wyatt, or anything like that. It's like, but I respect you and all things like that because like we're both a bit unhinged sort of thing. But it's actually a really good sort of like back and forward promo between sort of Wyatt and Orton. And it all comes down to Backlash. We're going to have Wyatt versus Orton.
Hopefully Orton's head can sustain over that time.
Yeah.
He got gashed open pretty hard.
Sunday. That's a week from like today as this goes out.
Oh, wow. Jeez. We still even know like our reviewing schedule for that event, but we'll figure it out.
I know. But yeah, no, it's quite good. Viper's sort of, Orton's just sort of going on about like how, oh, well, maybe a challenge and maybe sort of like, maybe the voices are telling me things and maybe I should just show you right now. And he makes a rush to the ring and everything goes black and nothing happens because it cuts straight to commercials, which was a bit weird.
They do that like, sometimes with
Orton. Yeah, I don't mind so much. Like if it did that and Orton made a break for the ring, and then it did that bit or whatever the hell you want to describe it as, goes to black, and then it comes back. Lights come back on, and Orton's just like, "What the fuck?" Like the chair, the rocking chair is still in the ring, and all it is Bray's just tucked under the ring. I wouldn't care so much if that was the thing. But they just...
Like the Undertaker's out of there sort of thing, yeah.
Yeah. But they didn't. They just went, meh, and went black, and then that was that.
Yeah.
And then before we knew it, we had Nikki Bella's music playing.
just after seeing, one guy, teleport away, and it's just like, oh, yeah, okay, time for a women's match.
Yeah, time for women's tag team match. Nikki is on commentary, fortunately, for this one. But it's Becky and Naomi versus Natalya and Alexa Bliss. I kind of zoned out during this match, so I apologize. I don't know a great deal that happened.
Do you know what they're doing for like the women's championship? Or are they just
it is a 6-pack challenge?
I don't like that.
I don't like that either.
Yeah. Does that just smell to you clusterfuck? Yeah,
it stinks of clusterfuck. And the match was quite good. Bliss didn't really seem in it. Like even from her entrance, it was just a bit half-assed. Like sometimes she usually does the whole sort of like showing off with the glove and everything like that. But it's like, and this time it's just sort of like, eh.
That seems a bit strange, but yeah. Is there any other awesome like side cards or anything like that?
You know what? I didn't even notice it. I didn't like. I don't know what it is. Like whether I got to like rack it back in, like drag it all back in and sort of like focus. But it's like I didn't even notice any sort of like comical side cards this week. Just a lot of dull ones.
We didn't even bring the fact that like Dolph Ziggler had his reading challenge.
Oh God, yeah.
Last week, but yeah.
How do we miss that?
The gold mine, a fucking gold mine.
But yeah, we had Lynch gets pinned by Bliss with a fistful of tights. Because the distraction occurs of Carmella just storming through the ring. Storming through the crowd, sorry. And just attacks Nikki. So it seems that's going to carry on for a bit. And Carmella's going heel. Because she has to. Because if she doesn't, she'll just die.
Yeah.
More than she'll die more. But yeah, no, it cuts off. That's that. And now the one thing I have the biggest problem with for this week's episode of Smackdown.
Oh, here we go.
I can understand that they're bringing back people like Curtis Axel. Kurt Hawkins. See, he's that little that I even got his name wrong. By the way, the US Marines are looking for a few good men or one Kurt Hawkins. They're doing this shit again. There's still all these video packages of like knocked off Chuck Norris quotes. They once tried to name a road after Kurt Hawkins, but nobody crosses him and lives. He can win Connect 4 in 3 turns.
Did they like Google Chuck Norris facts and she just pasted his fucking thing?
Yeah, Control F, Chuck, replace Kurt. It's just painful, but
the difference is like you knew that Chuck Norris could actually roundhouse kick you. Like Kurt Hawkins doesn't exactly invoke any sort of fear in someone, does he? Really, like you never came off as like awesome anyway. As much as I don't want to really like drag on the guy, but it's sort of like, oh yeah, Kurt Hawkins.
Like the highlight of his career was when he was like one of Edge's bitches.
The Edgeheads, as they were called.
That's it. I couldn't even remember what they were called. Yeah. Just Edge bitch.
Edge bitch number 1.
Edge bitch 1 and 2.
Yeah. But go on, I know where you're leading up to here.
So they bring in him, they bring in Mahal, they tried bringing Shelton Benjamin and all these people like that, and it makes total sense because they can still go, or they're of at least fairly recent enough to be memorable, have remembered. Why of all the fucking people? Hey, let's bring back a tag team, shall we? Let's bring back the Headbangers. The fuck? Someone at head office thought that was a great idea, and I want to know who they are because they can fuck off. Why?
You're not the biggest Headbangers fan,
I am a Headbangers fan. Of course I am. It's 2 guys who are literally like, we're just metalheads. Like we're just two dudes who just want to listen to heavy metal and fuck shit up. That's fine by me. But when it's been 16 years since they left WWE, that can't be too far from like their average age demographic.
16 years, yeah, exactly.
That's it. Dad of 30, mum of like 20. Yeah, like so, like 2 parents of 35, and they take their 3 kids. Like that's the average. There is like 17. Really? So it's like, hey, here's 2 guys that most of you will never have seen. And it's not like you go back through the network to look for these guys. They're not going to go down in history as one of the greatest tag teams of all time.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I just get the feeling they sent like a feeler off to all the ex-talent, and just like anyone who replied, they're probably going to get a comeback for like a week. Like I don't expect this to be like the Dudleys where they're going to get like a year-long run. Or at least I hope it's not. But...
Oh no, they lost.
Yeah.
And they did a backstage promo like, when are we going to be back again? Oh, I don't know. It's like, oh, never, probably.
Yeah.
To be fair, it was quite good.
Okay.
Before I carry on, I nearly forgot about something that was fucking gold.
Okay.
I don't know whether it was cringeworthy or brilliant.
You have piqued my interest, young sir. Go
Renee
ahead.
Young has an interview with Slater and Rhino.
Okay.
And it's not backstage. And it's not at the booth. They have the interview at Slater's home of a trailer. It's sort of like my wife, and it's stereotypical white trash, like overweight peroxide.
Oh,
like,
no.
like, hey there, honey. And sort of Storm runs over to him. It's like, oh, I've got snacks, and it's just like biscuits and cheese whiz, like cheese in a can. And it's sort of like, it's just so brilliant and awful in equal measure. So they try and play up that like Slater is essentially trailer trash.
Yeah.
It's worth the 5 minutes to watch because sometimes it's quite funny. Sometimes it's quite cringe-worthy, but still.
That's the line they tread, but they have done a pretty decent, way of making it go the right way rather than the other. Yeah.
But anyway, back on with the match. Headbangers are quite aggressive, I suppose. They basically they single out Slater for a lot of it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of tag team, sort of like double team moves from them. I quite like at one point, I think it was Mr. Charisma himself So charismatic, I've forgotten his name. He's on my commentary team, and I've forgotten him.
Oh, Mr. Otunga. Mr. Charisma. Yeah.
David Otunga.
So
So
I knew exactly who you're talking
I had
about.
to try and make a joke about having to thank the Hot Topic manager for letting the pair of them have the night off. Sort of really, dude.
You know what that is? He's got Lawler's old joke book, and he's just going to that every so often.
That's it. We need you to be the new Lawler. Can do. Bring me the book. It's quite good. They sort of show that they can still kind of go. They're not sometimes where they bring back former talent of the bygone era. I don't want to call it the bygone era, 60 years ago, where they come back and they're just dumpy and sort of
Yeah, you say that
have clearly worked since leaving WWE.
But they're not. I doubt they're on the level of when fucking Ricky Steamboat came back, and people were just genuinely shocked still how good he was.
What you mean where Ricky Steamboat came back in such a condition he became an active talent for a while?
Yeah, exactly. And he could out, and he was still out. He was doing 15-minute long matches with Chris Jericho, and I'm this guy is basically the epitome of pro wrestling.
He can out wrestle 80% of the roster. Yeah. We're not at that level.
No.
I don't know where, but Rhino got some blood.
Okay.
Near the near his hairline towards the temple, I think. But it was quite funny considering WWE are putting out all these little video clips of gore, because that's how the finish is.
Mm.
Slater manages to sort of get himself some space. Rhino's come in for an interruption, and he's basically just grabbed Slater by the hand and just dragged him to the other side of the ring, just right, tag me in, and gores through Thrasher, I think it was, and to pick up the win. But it's quite funny when the WWE gore, and there's actual gore because he's bleeding. Yeah, it's all right. So next week, I think it's next week. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, what? Backlash?
No. So next week's SmackDown will have the semi-finals and then the finals at Backlash, as I understand it. So next week, I'm going to have American Alpha versus the Usos, and Hype Bros versus Slater, Rhino, and Hype Bros versus Slater and Rhino. So it's going to be quite good next week.
I reckon Slater and Rhino go through. They have to.
Yeah, but to be fair, just for Alpha versus Usos, I want that.
Yeah, that's going to be good.
Yeah. Slater and Rhino pick up the win over the Headbangers. So Slater's not going to get fired anytime soon. He's still in the runnings of the Tag Team Championship and his contract. Actually, what have they done on Raw recently with him?
He's not showed up on Raw at all since he started.
Oh, what? Since he got murdered by Brock Lesnar?
Yeah, since he got destroyed by Brock Lesnar, and then you started saying he showed up in the tag team tournament. He's not showed up on Raw at all.
Fair enough.
So, which is a shame because I think he's been doing really good work, but still.
Yeah. Then we step on to the main event. AJ's on commentary, and some guy is in the ring who refers to himself as Gary the Milkman Millman. He's just in the ring. He's like, I've got a license. I've been issued a license to wrestle at this location tonight, and I won't leave this ring until I get someone to come down and wrestle me. Basically issues an open challenge. Some unknown matey who has just undone his shirt, dropped trousers, and he's just stood there in his tight whites, just I'm not leaving this ring.
Okay.
Cue pyro. Down comes Kane.
If the guy really wants to die, then I'll be the one that does it.
Yeah, there is no match. So in fact, whilst Kane's getting up the steps to go into the ring, or does his pull up the rope sort of thing.
Yeah.
This guy Millman's just fighting to try and get his trousers back on to run away. But he sort of stops. He's oh crap. He's there, isn't he? Turns around, choke slam, done.
Yeah. So Kane is back then.
Kane's back, yes. Now
Is this masked Kane or are we getting corporate Kane here? What are we
Masked
talking
Kane.
about? Masked Kane.
So main event: Dean Ambrose versus Baron Corbin, which is quite a good showing actually. Considering they're like sort of trying to prove that Corbin can be, I guess, in a top spot.
Or at least mix it up with the top dogs, yeah.
Yeah. This is quite a good match. It's a whole lot of getting all of your shit in. Corbin is very physical, as you expect. Ambrose is Ambrose. I still don't like his rebound clothesline shit. Still not.
You haven't liked that for a long time now.
I do not like it, no. But it's all right. But yeah, no, the match is good. The commentary is solid. AJ on commentary is doing good. He's not doing so much the whole beat up John Cena. He's basically trying to, like, he's obviously on the side of Corbin. In fact, at one point he gets up off commentary. Corbin's like throwing Ambrose against the barrier, and he's just like, "Get on him!" And Corbin's just like, "Fuck you." Sort of like a "Don't tell me what to do" sort of thing. Starts shouting in, like Corbin starts shouting in AJ's face, and it's quite good. But it all gets a bit. It's all a bit shitty.
Okay.
Because Styles sort of like grabs the rope and attempts to sort of like do a swift kick. Ref doesn't see it into Ambrose. Ambrose ducks, catches Corbin. Ref sees it all. Ref calls the match. AJ Styles interference. Again, he hit Corbin. So is that a Corbin win?
If he hit Corbin gets the victory, yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, Ambrose isn't happy with that, so he hits Corbin with a dirty D's just to play safe. Styles attempts a phenomenal forearm, but Ambrose is like, nope, swipes out his leg, and that's it. Styles is resting on the rope, shall we say. You know, leg each side. He got bald. And that's it. Like, Ambrose just mocks him, and Smackdown comes to an end.
So it seemed like a bit of a damp squib as a bit of an ending there, though.
Yeah, it's a bit. It wasn't terrible. It was quite a. If you, the only trouble is, if you didn't watch it, you wouldn't miss anything.
Yeah. Whereas on Raw, there was a lot of, at least that main event was very.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there was a lot of stuff going on there. Yeah.
That is true. Where, yeah, ours was just a bit. Well,
so
avoidable.
What's your rating for it then?
I'd go to give it a watch, but like I said, if you don't catch it, you won't miss anything.
So it's a very low watch it once at the very least then. Yeah. So I think we say that Raw won this week then, but two shows that were kind of average, just bar that Universal title match that kind of held things up a little bit on that front. But still, I mean, Backlash is a couple of weeks away. Well, actually, it said 2 weeks away on Raw, but that would make sense because technically that would be just less than 2 weeks. So yeah, it would be, you know, as you say, a week from when this podcast gets released. So I don't know when or if we're going to review it. We haven't come up to any idea of the brand specific pay-per-views. I do plan on watching Backlash though, but I don't know what if we get time. But we'll come to that as we go towards it. Yeah. Might be something that we have to like cover a little bit on the Smackdown review on the show or something like that. But we'll see.
The thing is, I don't know if they're planning on. Like, are they doing it as a long show or?
I imagine it'll be a 3-hour show.
Is it going to be a 3-hour pay-per-view?
I mean, they've got 3 title matches there and a few other feuds. So,
that's like the one thing I was sort of curious about. I was like, is it going to be like a long show, or is it going to be like a 2-hour? Because SmackDown's a 2-hour sort of thing.
I don't know. We don't know about that yet. But I imagine it'll be 3 hours. I mean, when they did the brand-specific pay-per-views, that was still 3 hours on them.
Yeah.
But that's when, as we said before, they started basically filling the shows with a lot of matches that no one really wanted to see. So that ended up becoming like a big issue there. So I hope it doesn't end up being that way. I mean, SmackDown with its limited roster could end up having a problem where they end up having pay-per-views that just don't do, or these big events that just don't really cut the mustard a little bit. But we'll soon see at the very least. We're going to find out soon. Is there anything else then that you would like to cover before we wrap up the show then?
No, I've got nothing else to put.
Oh, of course. Well, that is the end of the show then, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy it there. If you guys like to interact with us, you can interact with us via Facebook, facebook.com/Let's Talk Wrestling Podcast. You can also tweet us on the Twitter handle of
@TalkWrestlePod.
You can indeed. And of course, you can send us any audio questions or private emails to Let's Talk Wrestling Podcast @gmail.com. And of course, you can send us any of those questions in that lovely comment section below. Yeah, lovely. And of course, if you're new to the show, you can subscribe and become one of our many groupies that would love to have sex with us. Just adding that.
Okay.
Yes. Maybe not you, Matt, but definitely me. I've got a sexy voice.
Well, the audio dropped out for a second then, and the last thing all I heard was having sex. And
yeah,
okay.
Well, that's all you need to know, Matt. That's the most important thing. Okay.
Fair
apart
enough.
from that, guys, I hope you have a great week. We'll catch you all next time. And apart from that, who knows? I might do another Sanctuary of Positivity next week. It just depends on how I'm feeling, you know. Unless there'll be something really small and niggly that pisses me off, and then goes on from there. Next week's Sanctuary Negative will be myself fucking up the quizzes. Yeah, I barely muck up the intros anymore, but still. Anyway, guys, I hope you have a great week. We'll catch you next time, and have a great time. We'll see you then.
We'll catch you soon.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.